So I figured since I'm getting new tires Monday, might as well try and do a little burnout on this thing. All right, everybody, it's a Friday and I am at my business. You might hear the machine printing away in the background. There you go, can you hear that? That guy's pounding away on a print job. I was here working on that, and I figured while I'm waiting for that machine to run, I would work on the ambulance. I've got a couple of projects that I want to do on this. One of them is windows. I bought some pop-out windows off of eBay. I found a shop that was like a junkyard that was parting stuff out, and I bought two. I would like to do all four at some point, but I'm going to start with two because I think two might be enough. The reason why I'm putting in pop-out windows is because there's not much ventilation for the back part of this ambulance. It's just very stagnant air when you're in there, unless you have a fan blowing, which makes noise, uses energy. And I thought if I could have a couple of pop-out windows that might create a little bit of a cross breeze or something like that, that might solve the problem, and will solve quite a few problems really. So I thought that's going to be a really nice upgrade. And I remembered those pop-out windows from the van that I had when I was a kid, that you could sit there, crack them open. You'd only get about that much space for ventilation, but I think that'll be enough. So I'm excited about that. I'm nervous about putting them in. I'm excited to do it and have that upgrade, but I'm nervous about getting these windows out and the new ones in. Again, because this is such a pristine vehicle, I get anxious about modifying it, about touching it and making some of these changes that I'm doing and screwing something up possibly, but I think it's going to go pretty good. I got on YouTube University, watched a few videos about it, and I think it's going to work out okay. So task number one is going to be getting this stationary window out. I'm going to do one here, and then I'm going to do one on the side. Probably I'm going to show you this one because this is the best lighting here, where it's kind of dark down the side. So like I said, I'm going to do one here and then one on the side, so we can get kind of a cross flow breeze when they're cracked open, and do it that way. So step number one is going to be getting this one out. I kind of look to see, these gaskets are really hard. I think I'm going to end up having to cut it out to get that window popped out, and then I think the new one going in is somewhat straightforward. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to get you set up and get started on that. Okay, I think we're in good shape. I got the other window out in one piece. Luckily, the gasket didn't survive, obviously, since I had to cut it out. But the glass is in good shape. That's mainly what I was worried about. I didn't think I'd be able to get the gasket out in one piece without breaking the glass either, because it's pretty, I mean, even though it's been in a garage, it's pretty hard, and just didn't think it'd happen. So I did a quick test fit on this. Looks good. There's already pre-drilled holes. Let me grab you and show you that real quick. So, well, this is, you can see there's pre-drilled holes up here for the top, and then on the inside there's also these holes here. So this was basically made like I assume most vehicles are. Either way, have the pop-out windows or the solid state windows, and which makes sense. You know, that's easy for manufacturing. It makes sense that this one had the solid windows because it was the tradesman versus like a passenger van. So that's an easy conversion. I'm excited to see that. My thinking was I would do these two windows first, and if I felt like I needed the others in, either because it looked funny having one pop out and one not, or because I thought that'd create more flow, then I would take the one window, put it here, and then put two new ones in there. Looks like it's going to be pretty easy to do that if I want to do that in the future. So, okay, I think what I'm going to have to do, there was no hardware for the hinges, so I'm going to run to the store real quick and get that hardware real quick to put those hinges in, and then it'll be time to do an install. Okay, I went to the hardware store, got some nuts and bolts, so I'm going to start slapping this together and see if I'm doing it right. So I'm putting a little dab of grease right in the end of this, so that hopefully it'll hold the nut in the end, because I've got it going through, there's an access hole in the top of the doors to get to those holes. So I'm hoping that's going to hold it in so I can get this fitted up there and screwed on. We'll see how we go. Luckily I've got this convenient step back here to help with that process. It's not going to be there long though, because that's the next project. Okay, we got her. And actually, I think it looks pretty good. You could tell the difference because this doesn't have the seal out around it, but if you stand back and look at it just at a glance, I don't think you really see a difference. And I'm hoping that I'll probably tint these at one day also. We'll see out in the daylight if you notice it even more, but I'm pretty pleased. I don't think it stands out like a sore thumb like I was saying. So yeah, it looks like it's sealing up good. And then you could just take it, and it's kind of hard to get it to pop open just because of that clip in there. I'll probably fiddle with that a little bit, make it easier. But then that's it, popped open like that. There you go, get a little bit of a breeze in there, and that'll be super nice, I think, to have for some ventilation and just, like I said, some cross flow. Just so that the air in the back's not so stagnant. So that was easy. I'm really pleased with that. I'm gonna work on the side door. Like I said, it's dark back there, so I probably won't show you that until it's done, and then we'll move on to the next project. Okay, got the second one in here. So this one's a little bit looser. I'm assuming there might be some sort of an adjustment in here to kind of pull that in a little bit tighter, but I also think that maybe I set this up exactly how it was on the van it was pulled from, because this one's a lot easier to open than that other one is. So I'm assuming that means it's been opened and closed more, which to me would make sense that it would be on the passenger side versus a back window when it's acting like that. So anyways, I'll play with that a little bit, see if I can't figure out a way to get it to pull in a little bit tighter. I think it's sealing okay. Like if you look at this seam there, you could tell that it's putting pressure on that seam, and so I think it's sealing okay, but it's just kind of got a little bit of play to it. Might rattle as the wind hits it or something like that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about it too much. There you go, like that. See, it's just got a little bit of play there. So I think there's probably a way to pull that in a little bit tighter. So anyways, got that in. So now it's on to head on to the next project. And that next project is pulling that step off and putting a tow hitch on, because I want to be able to throw Sammy behind this and go on some serious adventures. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled off and get the other one bolted on. Should be a pretty quick process. I think it's just it's made for this vehicle, so it's just a bolt-on situation. And then if I have time after that, we might do some trailer wiring. We'll see. That's going to be a little more involved, so I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that today or not. Okay, I took a break and grabbed some lunch because I was starting to get hangry. I don't know if you guys deal with that, but I get to a point where if I'm hungry and I'm working on a project and the project isn't going smoothly, things escalate really quickly. So I figured it was a good time to take a break. I ended up having to remove the entire bumper. I got looking at the instructions and realized that I was trying to force something that I didn't need to force, and that these holes here line up with the bumper mounting brackets. Anyways, so I got all that figured out. It actually tells you to cut off the flanges that those go in. I just ended up bending them over because I don't have a cutter. I don't have like a grinder here. So you can see basically the inside flanges, I ended up stomping on them, bending them down so that they'll clear the bolt heads. So now all I've got to do is I'm going to tighten everything up on this because I loosened everything. So I'm going to tighten that all up, and then I should be able to stick the bumper up on and re-bolt it back on. And yeah, then that should be installed. Okay, we got her on there. Looks pretty good. Definitely looks different than it did before, but that means that I've got more use for this now too, so I'm excited about that. I did look at the wiring harness setup. It's very thorough, but it's going to be pretty involved, so I'm not going to start that today. I'm just going to kind of leave that alone. So yeah, that's a done deal. I'm excited about it. So I figured since I'm getting new tires Monday, might as well try and do a little burnout on this thing and see if I can have a little fun on these old tires. So let's see what we can make happen here. Well, it's got the power for it, just doesn't have the braking for it. The front end just wants to keep rolling away, so couldn't quite get the burnout I wanted to today, but it was fun still.